So as everybody seems to be keen and waiting, with your permission, Andrew, I open the meeting even 1 minute early again. So welcome to day 4 of our March meeting. I hope you enjoyed singing yesterday. If some people have no voice this morning, then they probably overdid with singing yesterday. But I understood it was a lot of fun, so I'm very sad that I missed out this time, but promise next time I will be joining. But we are not talking about singing this morning. We are talking about the IPSASB Research Forum in the first agenda item of this morning. Welcome to our members online, and welcome also to Andreas, the AAG chair, joining us for this session, listening to what kind of the breakout sessions brought out in terms of discussion results. And before we move around the table to the breakout leaders, and should probably at that point say thank you to the breakout leaders for their willingness to do that. I think that was fantastic. I saw kind of in all rooms that the discussions were very lively and people enjoyed that very much. So before we go to the breakout leaders, Dave, want to say some introductory words?
Thank you, Chair. And not only did I want to thank breakout leaders, but also everyone who participated. We had members, technical advisors, and observers who all contributed really well to where the IPSASB is going to go on research. I was only in one room, but I talked to some of staff and Thomas, who floated room to room, and most rooms used more time than allotted. So there was lots of discussion happening, lots to bring back to the AAG, and lots to bring to researchers on what we're interested in hearing in 2027. What I've asked the breakout room leaders to do is, in each room, I saw a list of everything that was discussed. There were 3 or 4 pages of notes from each room. I thought it'd be challenging for us to go through listing 20 or 25 items per room. So what I've asked members to do, or the breakout room leaders to do, is pick the top 2 or 3 and really dive into those in a little more detail, tease out what the issue was. So interested to hear what each of the breakout room leaders have come up with. The reason why I've done that, not only to focus the discussion a little more, but the way that we develop our call for papers is we have a cover letter that highlights the 3 or 4 topics that we want to hear from. And then we have an appendix at the back that dives into and provides a few paragraphs of summary of what the IPSASB is really looking for. So again, it was really great that we have 20 or 25 issues per room. But in order to move this forward and make sure that we get really valuable research back, I want to touch on the first 2 or 3 and see what everyone thinks. We will take everything back. And Andreas, I promise that there were really good discussions and lots for us to go through. We will take everything back and work with Andreas to make sure that we get a complete and fulsome call for papers, but just want to walk through on how it was going to work this morning. So Chair, back over to you.
Thanks, Dave. And with that, I think I'm going just in the order of seating, starting with ladies first, Renee, then Andrew, and then Jakuba.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. So in terms of financial reporting, question 1, 3 main themes I'd like to bring forward. Measurement of assets. Comparative research or additional understanding of what's done in practice regarding methods and techniques that are used in practice to measure more replacement cost in the context of COV. So it's really about those specialized assets, or those assets for which there's no market. What are we seeing in practice? What can we learn from this? Natural resources is another topic we talked about for quite a while. Applying the definition of control. The definition of control in the context of shared governance with specifically Indigenous people. What do we do with these large land, and what's done in practice? Can we learn from the challenges, and is there additional guidance we could provide in that regards? Are there challenges that are worth exploring as standard setter? We talked about service performance reporting as well. So, I mean, I'm in financial reporting, but not so much. But how service service performance reporting completes financial reporting. How is it used? Is it used? We often ask ourselves if the RPGs are used in practice. So research on that would definitely be interesting. We also talked about the boundaries of service reporting versus GPFRs. And is that boundary moving, changing, evolving? So for financial reporting, those are the three main topics. Sustainability reporting, the relationship with financial reporting, maybe understanding in practice how the link is made between the sustainability information and financial information. That's an area of challenges, I believe, for preparers. Also, the perception of sustainability reporting by our stakeholders. Are they keen to adopt it? Do they believe it's useful? So understanding it from the perspective of preparers, users, auditors. And finally, for last comment, factors influencing adoption of sustainability reporting. What are motivating those that are well advanced on that journey? What can we learn from their motivations and those factors? Would also be another interesting area of research. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Renee. That was very interesting. Andrew?
Thanks. So financial reporting, I think we made to emerging issues. So crypto, digital, data, AI, all of that immediately came out. I think on crypto, we spent a little bit of time there, not only around the holder and the issue of stable coins or various types of crypto, but also governments starting to seize crypto assets now, and these are becoming quite material. So the accounting around that, as it's still going through sort of legal processes, and we're deciding what to do with these. Another one was then around where governments are using crypto to fight crime itself. So sort of in an operational type capacity, and what should be done with these crypto assets that are held there. We did have quite a bit of discussion around data, AI, these agents that are developed. What is the useful life, the value around these? How do they? And that led us down an interesting and perhaps bold path to definition of an asset. And do we need to start opening up and rethinking around the potential for what is the definition of an asset? Is it fit for purpose going forward, particularly within a public sector space? I did too much talking. The battery's running flat.
I warned you, Andrew. That's going to happen.
And then another interesting one that came up in the financial reporting time space was culture. So we speak about heritage assets and these items. Is culture a heritage asset, intangible or not? How could that be valued and accounted for if possible at all? Moving to sustainability type related space. There it was around what are the data sources that are currently being used by adopters, both in the private and public sector, to actually fulfill a lot of the disclosure requirements there. And then an interesting one around looking to the private sector, particularly around IFRS S1, the broader sort of sustainability scope. And is that being used? And if so, how it's being used in other ESG related topics than climate at this particular point in time, to start understanding the potential uses and issues that happen in that space. So I think that was sort of our research topics, but we do have an exciting piece of feedback, and I'm not going to steal the thunder. So Sunjin, do you want to come in and just share with us that news?
Sunjin,
you can go ahead. Andrew,
you can go ahead. Okay, Andrew, I think he's leaving that to you.
All right. So so we did manage to secure a sponsor for one of the grants. So Sunjin and there's Junghyuk. So KRPF has offered to to sponsor one of the research grants. So that was great to hear.
That's fantastic news. Andrew, I wonder how you managed that. I hope you didn't use force and power. So thank you very much to KIPF, and thanks to kind of Jung Yuk and Sung Jin here. That's fantastic news. Thank you. So with that, moving over to Jakuba, and I have to say, I kind of experienced Jakuba's meeting, and I decided that he will be probably our fundraising manager going forward, because he literally ran around with a hat in his hands. So Jakuba, that was a great job.
So based on what the chair is saying, I don't know if I can start with the good news or presenting the other things. So I will start with the good news. I spent some time last night to discuss with my shareholders. So my firm, ETY, is providing a grant. Okay, now coming back to our debrief, the first one on financial reporting is related to measurement. The team came out with concern related to discount rate practices in the public sector. We believe there is some issue to resolve when it's come to rate-free risk. Market premiums and as well as country premiums when you are trying to build up a discount rate. The second one is related to valuation of equity investment in the public sector. The team found out that there is some issue when it's come to when the market is inactive. In what way we can gather information so that we have a correct valuation of those kind of assets. So in sustainability space, no, again in financial reporting, the team found that electromagnetic spectrum is prevalent, and it is important to find out the accounting over those kind of assets, because those assets are everywhere in any countries and available for public sector entities. On sustainability now, the team found out when applying IPSASB SRS1, it will be key to have information in the developing countries when it comes to identification and attribution of public policy impact, as well as the way we will be doing on IPSASB SRS1 aggregation and disaggregation among reporting entities. On emerging issues, it was also artificial intelligence, but our concern was focused on data. By now, in what way we can take into account accounting for data, recognition, measurement of data is an emerging issue, and we believe that bringing research information over those will be key for the future. So those were the main items I would like to highlight. Thank you.
Very interesting topics. Thank you, Jakuba, and thanks, Andrew and Renee, for your great summary. Want to give the opportunity to Andreas. Do you have any immediate reactions, any comments you want to make? Not that you need that, but want to offer that opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And certainly I would like to thank a lot to those who have come forward sponsoring additional grants. I think this is really wonderful news, and not that much expected, actually. I was a bit cautious on that, but it's really wonderful. So, and perhaps we get some other sponsorships outside the board in order to have more topics. And more topics, of course, means that we can address also more research questions in parallel. And I think this is really the objective of it. And therefore, I think I'm I'm very, very happy with that. I will not comment on the individual points of the groups. The groups have identified. I think that's really their views, and of course we probably will be able to combine some of the points mentioned by the groups because they're similar. And perhaps some others are additional. So given the number of grants, I guess it should be possible to address most of the points which were raised, or perhaps in a condensed manner, in the sense that they capture various wordings we see now on the slide. So I'm very optimistic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andreas. And I can kind of tell you that some wishes get immediately fulfilled. I can kind of report to that board that while some of you were enjoying singing, we did hard work. And over dinner, we kind of got the commitment of EY Canada to fund 1 or even 2 grants. So I think that's adding to that and probably making it possible to cover all topics. So thanks to EY Canada for that.
This gives even a double applause from our side because it might be 2 grants. So
fantastic. So I think now we have to deliver on topics as we have so many grants. Probably, I think many interesting topics. Comments from members around. Anything you want to add? You want to highlight where you see priority? Anything else? I think it has been very comprehensive already, right? I think nearly everything was mentioned and you had the opportunity to contribute to that. I don't see kind of further comments. So Dave.
So thank you again to everyone. I think you've given staff and the AAG chair the challenge now of taking that research and lining it up with where the IPSASB will be next year. I think, Renee, I think you brought up COB and how measurement works. I think we'll have to see how that lines up with where we are in our current project right now. We're trying to work COB into intangibles and how that all fits together. I don't know whether the research coming back will line up with that, but we'll have to think about how that maybe fits into a longer term initiative that looks at how COB works more generally within our IPSAS standards. So I think that's going to be the challenge for staff to take it away and think whether we want, I think it's experimental research or comparative research, and we'll have to think all about that. But again, very helpful to hear from all members as to what they think and where the priorities land, because there were a few items noted here and a few that I heard in session that weren't on my radar. So it's really good to hear those and think about how we can pick those up with the academic advisory group and the academic community. So you'll hear more in June. We can share with where we've actually landed. And then it's a little bit of a wait, but it's probably 15 months until you'll start to hear what the fruits of the labor are and all the research has been done. Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Dave. So with that, I think we can conclude on this agenda item. Andreas giving you 45 minutes back of your valuable time. And with that, moving on to approval of pronouncements, which is the next agenda item. I think on Tuesday, we approved materiality on the basis that there were some editorial kind of changes and some proposals were made. Thanks to members for working with Agostina on that. And we promised you that we come back and show the editorial changes made to the whole board. And this is what is going to happen now. So Agostina, once you have installed yourself, take us through the changes made, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everyone. And if my voice sounds rough, it's because of all the singing last night, so it was quite fun. Let me just move us along. So thank you for all the time with the members. I kind of went through some of you that are virtually via email and other ones who spent time with me yesterday as to address and ensure that we had addressed your comments. Here on this slide, what you have are the changes that were made. For example, from paragraph 5, Angela, we just limit that to IPSAS 1, and we have called out that it is aligned with the conceptual framework definition, but we have revised that. So the guidance in the material is to general purpose financial statements. Then we had a comment on paragraph 13 from Mike and Abdullah. It was about better alignment of the terminology with the conceptual framework specific paragraph, but also Mike kind of highlighted that when we noted other users in that paragraph, we included examples, and then it will feel appropriate to also include some examples of primary users. So we have revised that paragraph in such a way. I'll go through them, and then we'll see if there's any members that might have any comments, but I kind of worked with you through them. Then we added a new paragraph to address Yakuba and Abdullah's comment, and even Karen Sanderson that has sent me an email that we should include that paragraph on potential primary users. So we have done that. And then Mary, you wanted to enhance paragraph 14 as to show more background and alignment with a particular paragraph on the conceptual framework. In paragraph 19, Andrew, you had requested, similar to Mary, further enhancement of what type of information primary users may need, and we went through that. And paragraph 49 was similar to that, kind of highlighting qualitative factors in the public sector, because you felt that felt too much private sector. We did that. From the examples, we had enhanced example G and H to address both Dina's and Andrew's comments as to provide more background as to how that application of materiality is. And then after discussion with Andrew and Angela yesterday, example B particularly it has been deleted. So just some background from this perspective. Example A walks you through the application of materiality when you create an accounting policy that is different from what is the requirement in IPSAS. It specifically was the capitalization threshold, which highlights it from a quantitative perspective. After discussions with Andrew and Angela, we felt that example B that was trying to highlight when would you deviate from your own accounting policy to not comply with IPSAS from a qualitative perspective was a little bit mixing and over engineering. So we thought that example A kind of gets the point across on when you would actually create an accounting policy that deviates from the IPSAS requirements from a quantitative perspective. So those have been all the changes to the non-mandatory guidance. And then of course, we'll be going through our editorial process. And with that, I'll pass it to the chair. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Agustina, for summarizing that. And probably I have two questions. The first question is to those members who had comments, whether you find yourself well reflected in what Agustina presented. And the second question is to all others. Would you kind of share the agreement that these changes are editorial and still reflect what you have approved on Tuesday? So any comments on that? I see nodding around the table. Agustina, I think you have been very clear and summarized it well. So with that, I think we kind of not only officially or kind of on the basis of the voting approved it, but also from a content perspective. So thank you very much for that. Ross?
Yeah, just want to note for the record that we'll note in the minutes that the board has approved it and cleared all the subject twos from the original vote. Thanks.
Thanks for summarizing that, and thanks, Agustina. Great job. So it's lightning speed here on the agenda, I would say. We are not reaching coffee break, unfortunately, I have to tell you. So we do not yet deserve coffee. Ross has just to do his job before. And Ross, with that, I think I'm leading over to agenda item 2 in kind of continuance of what you did on Tuesday. So just lead us through, please.
Thanks. So we are well ahead of time. So I'm going to take the extra time and use a little bit to have a little bit of fun while we actually finish some important business. So during the meeting this week and starting in the last week, the World Baseball Classic has been ongoing. And as you know from my reports in the past, I'm a huge baseball fan. And we're in the home of the best baseball team in Major League Baseball, in my opinion, the Toronto Blue Jays. And they're about to restart their season. And you'll remember last year at the the March meeting, I was encouraging people to go down and get tickets and watch the Blue Jays, or I think it was the June meeting actually. They weren't actually playing that time. So got a surprise at the end of this, and I've checked to make sure the teams that I want to recommend you watch are playing. But this photo here is actually, you can kind of see it behind if you're really paying attention. This is the Tokyo Dome, where some of the games in Asia have been played. And if you ever get the chance to go to Japan and go to Tokyo, I highly recommend you go and watch Japanese professional baseball. It's an experience like no other, and the Tokyo Dome is one of the best stadiums to go and watch a game. So don't miss that opportunity if you ever go to Japan, and the baseball season's ongoing, and they have fantastic professional baseball. And it's a great spectator sport, whether you like baseball or not. So moving us right along, I want to thank the board for a fantastic start to 2026. I think like the Canadians in the World Baseball Classic, we're off to a great start. So Team Canada actually qualified for the quarterfinals, which they've never done in the history of the World Baseball Classic. And they'll be playing our neighbors to the south, the Americans, tonight at 8 p.m. If you want to watch that, if you're still here in Canada, it'll be on Sportsnet. And I highly recommend watching, because I can feel an upset coming now. And baseball is America's pastime, but the Canadians also have a very good team, and I think they've got a very good opportunity to have a big upset, like we were just upset in the hockey a couple weeks ago in the Olympics by our American friends. But joking aside, the board had a very productive meeting, and we did approve all 4 of the items that were up for approval. And like the Canadian baseball team, we've really come through under the pressure. And I did want to highlight that it's quite abnormal in a March meeting to have 4 approvals, and for a brand new chair to approve 4 items at the first meeting. And I think it's a testament to the strong collaboration and good work of the 2026 board. We're off to a great start, and I think looking forward to all the great work the board will do this year. So, I don't have the big thumb this time, but the Canadian team celebrating really is me showing the gratitude to the board and the staff for all the great work. Those approvals will be working on the sequencing of the publications and lining up the dates with our comms team in due course. So you'll see those start to come out the next 6 to 8 weeks after the meeting. So update on meeting. So there will not be a check-in meeting this time. And this is the best player in Major League Baseball that plays first base. That's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was actually born in Montreal, Canada, when his father used to play for the other ex-Canadian Major League Baseball team, the Montreal Expos, that now play in Washington. He is the first baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays. And again, like I said, the best player in Major League Baseball. He's currently leading the Dominican Republic to the quarterfinals, and they're a strong bet to maybe win the World Baseball Classic. So again, you can watch the Dominican team play this weekend as well, and they're very fun to watch. They're a great team. I also wanted to confirm that we will have 3-day meetings going forward. Now you're wondering, who's this, baseball player that doesn't look very athletic and is wearing a sombrero? This is the best player for the Mexican team. His name is Alejandro Kirk. He's also the back catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, and one of the best back catchers in all of baseball. And if you saw him walking down the street, you might think he's a standard setter because he has a similar build to myself. But he is actually a very athletic baseball player. So don't judge a book by its cover. But unfortunately, the Mexican team hasn't made it to the next round, but they played very well, and he was celebrating a game-winning hit when he was wearing the sombrero. So work program changes. We have a couple of different changes here that I wanted to talk about. So we've had a great discussion on the measurement application of COV. We'll give you more of an update on what that means for the timetable for that project going forward at the June meeting, and I'll highlight that in my written report. And I'm very happy that the board's agreed to the new launch of the Financial Reporting Implementation Forum. And I wanted to showcase another great player in the WBC, Okamoto, who plays for the Japanese team. He's now the third baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays as well. Another fantastic. So our team, like Toronto, is very international. and they're doing a great job at the World Baseball Classic. And I expect within a couple of weeks when the Blue Jays start, they're going to move to the top of the Major League Baseball League with all of our international players like this board, delivering hit after hit and win after win. So I'm very excited for the baseball season, just like I'm excited for the standard setting season. But we do have some roster changes and some updates for our team here at IPSASB. So I wanted to share some of that information with everybody today. Some positive roster changes, but also a little bit of a sad note as well. But we'll get to that as we move forward. So I'm just making sure I get my animations right. So firstly, I wanted to congratulate Karen Long, who's been promoted to senior manager because of her excellent work supporting the team on our sustainability work. So Team IPSASB, we've made a promotion and Karen will now be leading the team from the senior manager position. So very happy for Karen's promotion and the great work she does. And you might have noticed that the bench for the IPSASB, in baseball, the players that aren't in the game are sitting on the bench. So you might notice we've had a little bit of a lighter bench the last few meetings because we've been down a couple players. I'm very happy to share that reinforcements are on the way in the next couple of months. So if you talk to Celine at the recent social, Celine's getting ready to come back in the game and will be joining us soon. And we're expecting Saya to also be rejoining the team shortly. So in June, I'm hoping that you'll see a full complement of the team. And we're also currently looking in the minor leagues right now to recruit a new member to the team. And we'll be doing interviews next week. So if you know about baseball, we have what's called the farm system. They call it the minor league. So before you come up to the major leagues and join the standard setting team, we have to go out and talk to the firms and find the people in the farm system to come and join us. So just making sure. And then we have valued members of the team. So this is Augustina, who's really had a great meeting, taking us through a number of difficult items. And I'm sad to say that this will be her last meeting on the IPSASB team as Augustina has been traded. So she's moving over to IFAC. So although we're losing her from the IPSASB team, our loss is the gain of IFAC, and Augustina will be moving to take a very important position in the transformed IFAC as the principal of strategy and voice of the member. So we've talked to you a little bit last year about IFAC's transformation and the new focus on member value proposition. And one of the ways that IFAC will be more responsive to the member is by setting up a number of committees and work streams that relate directly to the member and member needs. And Augustina will be the main staff at IFAC leading on those initiatives. So although we're losing her from our standard setting team, she'll be in the Toronto office for the foreseeable future. We'll have an IFAC staff working alongside us, and that'll help us as the IPSASB team stay more engaged with the changes at IFAC. And I'm sure Augustina will continue to take forward the great public sector work and make sure that the IFAC team doesn't forget about that important.
Can I just come in at that point in time? I have to kind of clarify that being the new coach of this team, the trade has not been agreed with me, and but unfortunately I have no veto rights. But I think we should use this moment to thank Agustina for the great work she has done, not only in this meeting, especially in preparation for this meeting, but not only limited to this meeting, of course. So please join me in applauding Agustina for the fantastic work.
Maybe one last point on Augustina. So one of the good things of Augustina still being in the IFAC family is those of you who go to the Latin American events, I think that means you'll probably have a good chance to continue to see Augustina at the Latin American events wearing her new uniform for IFAC, and maybe even still putting the old IPSASB hat on every once in a while to help us out with presentations. So we will miss Augustina for sure, but I'm really looking forward to working with her in her new IFAC capacity. And yeah, brings me pretty much to the end, other than Let's Go Canada and the WBC finals. Here's the final events. If you are here in Canada for the next 24 hours, you'll be able to watch these games here. If you go back to your own countries, it's such a big event. I'm sure it'll be on TV for you there. And I did want to say that I want to take credit. I'm not very good at making slides, but I did all those slides all by myself, including the animations. So if you need some help, come and see me and I'll help you out.
Thank you, Ross. That's fantastic. I think it's definitely more than I would be able to do so in terms of slides, I have to say. Timing of baseball games is very important, but equally important is the timing of IPSASB meetings. Can you kind of clarify the exact timing of the June meeting? I know that this is what members would kind of want to hear.
Yes, thanks, Thomas. I did kind of skip over that a little too quickly. So just to confirm, we won't be using the check-in meeting for Q2. There's no need for that going forward. And we are planning a 3-day meeting in June. So running from the Tuesday to Thursday. And going forward, we'll be operating on the basis, as we discussed in the closed session, that we'll be trying to fit all the agenda items into the 3-day meeting. Not precluding that we might ask to use the 4th day in exceptional circumstances when we have a heavier agenda or an outreach event. But we'll be sure to coordinate well in advance to let members know when we're looking like the agendas are going to stack up that way. And, you know, we've been working on a rolling agenda planning program where we're looking 2-3 meetings out with the agenda. And it's not looking like we're going to need a 4-day meeting for the balance of 2026. But if that changes, we'll let you know. Our next 3 meetings, you know, the baseball team will be on the road, so we will be looking for other side events around the baseball game or the meeting. We're working with the IMF on that right now, and we'll be working with the African Union, PAFA, and the Ministry of Finance of Ghana on September. And the ADB's very strongly indicated that they're going to be wanting to do an event as well in December. So I still think we will be taking members' time for that 4th day. But again, that'll likely be more optional, and whether that outreach and agenda works with what you're interested in. But maybe Thomas, happy to pause there if there are any questions.
Definitely, yes. Any questions regarding what Ross just shared with us? Other than baseball, we can talk about that in coffee, in the coffee break. Okay, that doesn't seem to be the case. So I think with that, for me, there is no kind of other agenda item to open, unfortunately. I can't keep you any longer, as much as I enjoy it, to be honest. I think with that, if you don't have any further remarks, I would ask members to stay around for the closed session, but would off. Okay. So if you don't have any further remarks, then for the closed session, I think that brings me to kind of the end of the official part of the March meeting. And of course, I don't want to do that without thanking all of you for a very, very kind of successful and great first meeting 2026. Thanks to all of you around the table for the great discussions, but especially thanks to those online. Thanks for all your patience and stamina, even kind of staying with us around midnight and later. I know that's not easy, but you have done a fantastic job. We are kind of course, looking forward to seeing you in person next time. We missed you around the table, so it would be lovely to see you next time in person in DC. Big thanks to staff sitting on, how did you call that? Back bench? The bench. Okay, back is a little bit bad. So bench. Thanks to the bench for the great preparation of this meeting from a content perspective. I think you have prepared great papers. And thanks for kind of dealing with my crazy ideas, how to shape the papers going forward. You have done a fantastic job and kind of done it much better than I had it in my mind. So thank you for that. And a special thanks to Rainey and Lauren for kind of setting up all kind of the facilities here very, very well. It went very smooth, and that's the biggest compliment I think we can have. So thank you very much for that. So join me, please, in applauding to all of us for a very successful March meeting. It has been fantastic. So thanks to all of you. And with that, I would say we can stop the recording yeah, officially close the official part. Please stay around the members for the closed session before we go to coffee break. Thank you.
So I have an administrative item for those of you here. We've ordered boxed lunches for today and they're being put out right now. So definitely by the time of the closed session, there'll be lunches available for people to take with them, but for TAs and staff as well, just wait a few minutes outside and you can grab a box lunch before you go. We don't want to waste the food. So please make sure you grab something.